I mean, Draven would be the classic.
Look, I'm down to try it. I'm down to see it tried. Given the fact that it's Jaculov, sometimes it's not the champion, it's the player who decides he's going to absolutely pop off or die trying. It is going to be the Zeri instead. So I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
All of that, we get Zeri. God, get me out of here, man. Hysterics or someone. Come and cast this instead. I can't believe that we talked about Kog'Maw, they hover the Kog'Maw, and then they hover the Vayne, then hover the Draven. It's bloody Zeri. No, it is just Zeri. Just in case you hadn't seen it up for this champion, the Yumi's gone, the Lulu's gone, it's the Milio instead. It's still helping Zeri kite and be much in the same way that we're talking about the FLS from Game 2 of last series in terms of standing your ground and using the extended range and the cleanse and the like to just kite back and turn around a fight sometime later into it. Now, I haven't seen a huge amount of the Zeri-Milio lane pairing. I think there are definitely some ways where a Nautilus hook lands onto the Milio and they get burst out before the Zeri can really return fire. That's what I'm interested in from TT, particularly because we have just been talking about 1xN being a very proficient Aphelios player, being being the absolute best player on his LDL team, has to try and transfer that now into the LPL against these legendary players like Jaculov and Mark. Yeah, and one part of that function that I want to mention as well is his coach, right, which is No Name. And for anyone that's wondering, that is No Name from the 2014 LMQ over in the LCS.
Oh, that's what it was from.
Many years ago.
It's on the tip of my tongue, man.
Yeah, yeah. That is the coach for TT. So certainly a veteran player to help him try and reach those dizzying heights. I do feel like TT, a team with a lot of individual pop-off potential. 1xN, like you say, hyped up from the LDL. Yao Yao getting his chance over you. Yancho once more. He was playing for TT during playoffs when they lost to RNG. But also UCal. I feel like UCal is one of these players that, over the last couple of years, he went from, at least in my estimation, one of the worst mid laners in the LPL, I don't know how else to say it, to solo killing it, to dominating the mid lane. This Tristana pick came out for him that was like this huge turnaround moment, and suddenly he became a player that was lane dominant and could fight for games and win games for his team. And I feel like he's kept that moniker, he's kept that style ever since. And now he's become a player that I'm always excited to see, especially against the likes of Rookie.
UCal is a player with so much history in himself, too. Of course, completely overshadowed by Rookie, playing all the way back in Season 4, and he's been at the top of the tree pretty much his entire career. UCal has such a weird career trajectory because, yeah, he's had that dip. His first season, Season 8, I think that was when he was on KT, if I remember right. I'm trying to remember which team he was on at that point, but not up in time for the Herald. TT gonna get that, get out. They pull the ult now.
Oh, Flash, Spirit Rush, Charm, Everfrost, everything onto UCal. He's still alive for now, but taken down by the solo laners as Rookie goes back in and Wayward charges forward. A double kill on the Cassante, but Rookie has gone too deep. And 1xN just cuts him down with the Shurikens. Wayward will fall too surely. 1 HP as Jaculov arrives on the scene trying to clean things up. But 1xN on a double kill already. TN is in here. Hoya jumps on forward and brings the barrel down on Jaculov. Wants a little bit more. Baytron goes back in. 1xN with a third of the fight. And Mark finds himself alone in the world. Baytron wants to finish the job, but kicked away.
TT, they find the right timing. The ults weren't quite available from Top Esports to engage onto TT while the Herald was going down. It's only after it's been taken that they go towards it. Rookie does pull UCal out of position, which is important. It stops TT being able to defend the choke point on their own with a Tibbers, with a load of their Sentinel turrets coming down as well. 1xN, though, uses the Chakram ultimate and is untouched because he's not the one caught in the choke. Feels like Top Esports, they overforce as soon as they can't quite get into that choke point.
I mean, on the first watch of this fight, I was looking at Rookie, I was like, Rookie, man, you really overstepped there. I didn't realize he was basically full health when he went over the wall. That was like 3 or 4 auto attacks that just shredded him. And because it was melee range, they were like instant auto attacks. So 1xN just annihilated him. The charm goes wide, though. It's going to be just a 50-50, and TN wins those. Wayward doesn't win those, though. Goes in and just gets wrecked as the disengage comes out from Mark. Rookie with a charm as well onto 1xN. Doesn't have the Spirit Rush if he has to, and Yao Yao flashes to force the Spirit Rush out from Rookie. TT are looking towards the Baron here. I don't know if that's something they can really look for.
They have, again, those turrets, really high DPS on the neutral objective, and they did get a kill onto someone with no teleport to come back. With the Spirit Rush down, I think TT are looking at the available combat options, looking at the lack of ultimates, and I think they can try this.
I will say, there's been two 50-50s this game, and Tien's won them both. He has Smite available in a few seconds, but actually currently on cooldown. 4K on the Baron. Tien goes in as the damage coming out from Jackie Love here, but the health bar's still decent for TT. It does feel like they're being corralled though. Everfrost there from Rookie on the top side. Tien almost in the pit, goes in for this one as Jackie Love gets two for himself. Baron taken by TT, but they're stuck in the back of the pit. The lightning chaining across the team, but Jackie Love's down. Baytron gets him. 1xN still alive as the recall in the back of the pit actually goes on through for UCal. They walk away with 3 Barons.
TT match up to that with their own Aphelios, and they say, look, this is enough damage, we have the setup, we can make this work. So looking back to this point already talked about how the Xanthe's not going to be here. You don't have that disruptive frontline threat to kind of separate out the team fights, and that means that Jackie Love has a harder time buying space. And while he does get a decent amount of damage down, it's not like 1xN has been hit himself at this point. And he's the one with the more gold, he's the one with the more items. It gets scrappy, it gets pinned into the pit. But because of the difference in itemization between these 80 carries at this point, you can just see the amount of damage that 1xN can put out over his counterpart.
Unless we basically get a Flash Tibbers with the Wukong following up as well. TES have lost control of the Baron though. It's TT on the scene there as Jackie Love clears away this mid wave.
Okay, let's see what happens with this Inferno. 1xN doesn't have himself the chakrams for huge continued DPS, but the burst damage is huge. Here we go!
Oh, Hoya, the cask isn't that great, but at the meantime, Wayward just kind of goes 1v5. The top laners both just throw themselves in and sacrifice their lives. So now we have a 4v4.
Yeah, carry on our Wayward son. Does not get nearly enough out of that one. Ultimate not pulled, flash not pulled. 1xN still has ult, still has Inferno.
Tien on the front line. Tibbers goes down here. Depth charge across the team as Rookie has to flash.
Oh!
1xN flashing onto Rookie to find himself a solo kill onto one of the greatest players in LPL history. Jackie Love wants to answer in kind as 1xN on the front line. Does he have the damage? Jackie Love laser across the team, stacking up the electricity. 1xN to go down, but he flashes away. He's the one to get the kill. Turn it into 2, and TT find another fight. I think they might have. Let's take another look at how on earth this started.
So Tien managed to buffer out of the CC, avoid the body slam with the with that advance coming in from that Maokai. But after this point, you know, you've traded frontliners, and the Zeri really needs to be standing behind someone if at all possible, particularly because the Aphelios has so many items at this point. The Zeri, it's not the same crit burst build which we had before. It's got a lot of sustained pressure, but you got a lot of bursts on this Aphelios. And while that ultimate goes wide, I think that was probably just to see if that last auto attack didn't crit and kill that that Ari. Potentially was just kind of some insurance after that point. This is where it gets absolutely hell for leather though. The onslaught from the Severum, of course, triggers your other weapon. Really slick at switching between the weapons. Gets a 3-weapon switch beyond this as well. Runs out of ammo for 1 and changes over to the turrets, which then add extra DPS in. 1xN giving us a real masterclass on even in late game scenarios, keeping your cool and making sure you know which weapons are coming next.
Taken. TT now looking for the fight. It's UCal. No, denied by the Everfrost, but flashes forward for the re-engage anyway. Tien, the target, is Jackie Love trying to survive. Yao Yao in the brush, buying space. 1xN jumps on forward. Can't quite find Jackie Love, who somehow survives. Does not have a GA. Does not have any survivability left. Just that flash. 1xN wants a little bit more. The Calibrum still there. 1 more Q remaining, but changes it out in the end.
No one dies except the dragon, but that's what TT came there for. They managed to escape from the teleport flank. Wayward trying to kill a wave, gets stunned up, goes unstoppable.
In the exact same spot once again, Wayward will walk out with his life. TT, though, with Soul and winning out that team fight, even if they don't get the kills. We'll move over to this Baron and Tien. So this is going to be hard to contest. There's no flashes.
There's no flashes, no Maokai ult, no Milio ults. There's some big fight cooldowns gone, but it feels like top esports, despite the fact that they're not getting killed in these fights and they're managing to stop 1xN getting everything that he wants, they're also not finding any victories for themselves. They haven't picked up a neutral objective from basically besides just some 50-50 spites. Feels like they're slowly just rolling into the abyss.
Yeah, that's the part that you have to remember. Those 2 Drakes, they were 50-50s. That wasn't top esports having control of the Dragon area. That was them just contesting. TT have been in the driver's seat this whole game long, and now 8,000 gold up at 40 minutes on the clock. Medjai's picked up by UCal as well on 10 stacks with a stopwatch to boot. this is feeling like it might just be the game for TT to start the series off in style. It's a slow burner. It's certainly, this is like one of those TV shows where you've got to get like 5 episodes in before it really kicks off, but it is kicking off for TT.
Now, funnily enough, one of my favorite shows I watched recently was Andor, one of the Star Wars shows, which was a bit of a slow burner. It's also one of my favorite things I've watched in a very long time, and this game as well is promising at least one more cataclysmic team fight. And in fairness for Top Esports, they have the builds and the damage to potentially get themselves a turnaround fight. We are late enough into the game where one fight could be catastrophe for TT, despite their heroic plays earlier into the game. They're trying to sync up their waves. Hoya's in the mid lane, hasn't got his teleport for the next few seconds. TT paying respect to that and slowly shuffling these waves into the base.
Catastrophe is Top Esports' middle name. They live in the space between reality and catastrophe. But now the siege of the mid lane continues with these cannoned up Barons? The Baroned up cannons. Slowly but surely chipping away at the towers.
I'm not sure we really want to take cannon with extra armaments. I think that's a little unfair.
But the wave being pushed as slowly as possible for TT so that the mid wave can crash at the same time, but not quite going to work out for them. The wave instantly cleared with an Ahri getting the true damage from the Orb for Deception, plus that Zeri shredding the wave. They will be able to clear the bot side, they will be able to clear the wave in the mid lane, but the cannon almost getting that tower. Not quite, but I mean, it's a single auto away. They could just walk up and finish that one off.
Definitely try. Tien hanging over the wall, Maokai ult in position. What can they get with this?
Nearly got the tower, 1xN playing it cautious as Wayward steps on forward. A TP coming on through. The roots from Tien not quite going to do enough as the cleanse was forced, but it's not enough to force away. Wayward with a triple knock-up! It's huge, but the cast from Hoya denies it! No follow-up from the rest of the team, and now the Ocean Soul will pay dividends. The regen can come on through for TT. They can keep this siege rolling. Wayward with heroics, but answered in kind by the opposing man. Hoya denies the play.
In any other game, that could have saved their skins, but it doesn't quite manage it. Back to the base for Top Esports. One last defense.
And look at the health bars. The Ocean Soul basically bringing everyone back to full rookie. A bit of damage out onto Hoya, but they can keep this going all day long. 2 inhibs taken. All they have to do is wait for super minions at this point. Top Esports hanging on, fighting tooth and nail. They will not give up just yet, but it feels so difficult, especially without those ultimates available.
I think they might just be able to wave clear TT. They don't want this to go to an Elder. They don't want it to be a flip around that objective if they can help it. But they're not going to have the choice. They're going to have to back off. Waves just not meeting up for them. Clearing up some waves.
Oh, the charm. H1 gets out with his life. Draculova's caught. Hoya with another incredible cast. Hoya saving the day for TT, and now 1xN can clean these health bars up. He's untouched in the fight. Infernum across the squad as Wayward tries to pull the fight back for his team. 1xN just walks towards them at Nexus. Wayward has to do something miraculous, but he's got no HP, and he's taken down. TT have done it. The upset comes on through, and in game 1, TT live up to the thunder in their name.